Hello everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to a not too shabby design team project. This is the card that I'm going to be making today, and I'm using the Sunny Studio Love Monkey stamp set, which I fell in love with as soon as I saw it. This is my design team stamp for the month, and I am hoping to make a second card using this stamp set later in the month. So I'm going to be doing a lot of stamping and masking for this one layer card. This adorable little monkey is kind of sitting on his bottom with his legs overhanging what is going to be a branch, which I'm going to stamp as my third image. So I just cut out a mask. I stamped and cut that out of some full sheet adhesive post-it note paper, which I find is the most affordable for masking. Now I'm going to stamp the adorable little girl monkey with her bow in her hair and her legs turned out. So I want to make sure her legs are in line with his bottom. Now I'm going to stamp the tree branch. I want to make sure that this overhangs the card so it looks like the tree trunk is off the card, so you're only seeing them sitting on the top of the branch. Playing around here with this mask, it was pretty intricate with all those little hearts, so I am going to pop this off my platform here so I can get this into place. I did fussy cut all of these masks out, which took a little time, but I think it's definitely worth it to get the look that I was going for. So I'm going to do a very soft background with my Distress Oxides. I'm using my makeup brush set here, which I got off of Amazon. All the products will be linked below in the description box. So I'm starting off with Tattered Rose to give a very light top of this card. So I'm kind of going for an ombre effect with pinks. So the second color that I'm bringing in is the Worn Lipstick, and I'm using my cloud stencil here from MFT. I get so much use out of this stencil. I love it. It's got 4 different sides, and you can just flip it around and you get a really beautiful cloud pattern. So you can see here I'm only laying down a very little bit of color. I am dabbing off my makeup brush here before adding color to the card. The third color that I'm going to be using is Picked Raspberry, which is quite a bit brighter, but again I'm tapping it off, trying to just get a very pretty soft background. So my inspiration for this card was just kind of like, you know, when you're in love and your head's in the clouds. Well, these two little monkeys who are so in love are on their tree branch and in the clouds. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of where my head was at in making this. So now just to bring in some more depth to this, I'm just going to go over with whatever is left on my brush. I did want to darken up the Tattered Rose here, so I'm going to go back over that and just bring in a bit more of that color so you can see the definition in the clouds better for the top portion. And then I'm just going to run over that again with some of the ink just to brighten that up. And I'm actually going to bring the Tattered Rose down throughout the whole card just to give that really soft, it's almost like a pale peach in a way, the Tattered Rose. So I'm just going to finish that up, and then I'm going to remove the masks, and here's where the magic always happens. Look at how cute these two are sitting on their little branch. So for the monkeys, I'm going to color them both the exact same color. So I'm using E49 as my darkest, E47, and then E25. So I'm taking my E49 and I'm just laying out where I want the shadows to be. Now some of these areas are very tiny, so I'm just using the tip of my marker. Now I'm coming in with my midtone, which is the E47, just going over that darkest color, making sure that I can leave enough space for the highlight with the E25. I absolutely adore the way these little monkeys were drawn. They're so cute. Now, if I were to do this card again, I would have the little boy monkey here that I'm working on now over as far as possible left as I could. I don't love how her eye is covered up, but works fine. So I'm just bringing back that darkest color over her a little bit more. And then I'm going to color him up. He was a bit easier on the top of his head because he didn't have the bow. But the tail and their legs and arms are very tiny, so you could get away with a 2-color blend for sure with these little cuties. So once I get the dark parts of these little guys colored, I'm going to move on to their faces. For that, I'm going to use E35, E53, and E51. I wanted there to be a nice contrast between their faces and the rest of their bodies, so you could really see their faces and they stood out. I'm also doing their feet and hands in the lighter color as well, just to bring that down further. So just going over, I started with my darkest, the E35, then went in with the E53, and then I'm going to use my E51. I'm also going to use 2 of these colors for the branches. I didn't want to bring in any more brown tones for this card. I wanted to keep it as monochromatic as possible. Just darkening up their faces a tiny bit more, using a little bit of tip to tip here to blend the E35 and the E53. I didn't want them to be too pale on their faces. I wanted them to have some shadows. So once I finish this up, I will move on to the branch. Just going to put that lightest color back in on the center. And so I'm just going to use the E53 and the E51. I wanted the branch to kind of blend in to the scene. I wanted the monkeys to really steal the show on this card. So I'm simply just using a little bit of the E53 for a bit of a darker shadow, and then E51 for most of it. So for the pinks, I'm using R85, R83, R81. If you've been with me for a while, you know that I absolutely love this pink color combination with Copics. So I'm doing all of the hearts and her little bow in this color combination, and I think it picks up really nicely with the pink background. If you wanted them to stand out a bit more, you could definitely do the hearts in red. So for the sentiment, I wanted to use the one that said, "For my little love monkey," and I'm going to stamp that with some Versafine black onyx ink to the middle bottom, kind of 1/3 of my card. And I thought this looked really cute, balancing out the card, but also making the sentiment stand out. So now I'm just going to take my picked raspberry here, and I'm going to use a couple of the hearts that came in the stamp set as well. And I'm just going to stamp those, almost creating a diagonal on the card with the hearts, but also coming through with the little monkeys and then the sentiment. So it looks like there's flow to the card. And then I just needed to blend out that pink a little bit more. So I'm going back over with my R81 just to blend that out. So I'm going to get this adhered down to my card base. I'm just going to use my Nuvo liquid glue here. And once I do that, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some final details on our little critters and the hearts here. So I am going to bring in my white gel pen. I'm going to add that to the bow and to the hearts, and then I'm going to give them 3 little dots on each side of their cheeks, just to add a little bit of fun to this card. And that will be the card for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I think this makes a great Valentine or also any day card. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye!